What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the No Structure Big Board Best Ball Show. I'm your host, Matt Holzel, and I'm going to be taking you guys through a live big board draft today on Underdog. This is going to be a really quick stream. I'm mostly doing this just because I want to document and record as many of my best ball drafts as I can this year. So just threw this on real quickly. I'll send out a quick link here on YouTube and X to make sure those that see it can hop on in. But this is going to be a really quick draft. And as I mentioned, I'm really just trying to document as many of my drafts as I possibly can for the record. So yeah, that being said, give me just 1 minute here. Latest news of the day is that DJ Moore has been traded to the Buffalo Bills. So that's going to be pretty awesome to have DJ Moore up there in Buffalo with Josh Allen. That's the biggest news of the day. I think that's going to be good for his price, especially where he's going now. But let's go ahead and jump into a big board. Again, appreciate you guys being here. This is going to be a quick draft. Want to get one in real quick before I got to get stuff done for the day. And we are going to make that happen. All right, hopping into the big board. This is the 2026 NFL pre-draft best ball main event on Underdog. It's a $10 buy-in, $200,000 to first, and it's got a 3 out of 12, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10 advance rate to get to the 558 seed final. 200,000 to first, 100,000 to second, 65,000 to third, and then so on and so forth. I'm gonna hop on, commit our money to the process, and we are about halfway filled on this. So, yeah, real quick, the big news, as I mentioned, is DJ Moore getting traded to the Buffalo Bills today. That opens things up for Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, and Colston Loveland. I don't necessarily think that Colston Loveland's going to move too much, although he'll probably come up a little bit. DJ Moore's going around pick 100. I think he's obviously going to come up now that he's probably the main, target for Josh Allen. And then Luther Burden, I kind of thought he was already a little expensive. So now that things have cleared the way, he might go up a little bit in price, but I don't know if it'll be. I don't know. I'm just not sure how the market's going to react to this news. I guess I imagine all four of those players are going to bump up a little bit at from their current costs, their current ADP. Let's see. This is my 61st big board draft, so a little less than halfway. I don't know if I'm going to max this tournament. I was thinking somewhere around 100, but I've been doing some drafts on other streams with other best ball friends, and my entries are filling up quicker than I thought. Last year, I didn't play in the big board, but I did max out BBM. When I did with BBM, I was able to get 5 teams to the round of 16. So that's that final round before the 558 seed final. None of those teams, unfortunately, advanced to the final. But given how I performed my first year, 2 years ago, relative to last year, it was a massive improvement in my advance rates. I also did get to 2 finals in the time box tournaments, those being the Pointer and the Husky 2. So I was in both of those finals. Didn't win either of those tournaments. Again, it's really hard to win a tournament, but getting into 2 finals and then making it to the round of 16 with 5 teams in BBM, I felt like that was a really successful year for my second year. This year, I'm picking it up even more. I'm streaming. I'm trying to document all of my drafts to have those for go back and review thought process, player takes, draft strategies, all those fun things. So we are filled. We are in the 8-hole here. So guys that will probably be available for us, Jonathan Taylor every once in a while will slip there. Maybe CMC, most likely CD or Amra will be the pick. This is, I think, my 7th or 8th stream of the year. This is my first year streaming, so I'm still getting comfortable, getting into the room, getting set up, getting all the equipment going, getting all the screen shares. So appreciate your guys' patience. As I learn, you'll be learning with me. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to take down the tournament this year. I don't know which tournament it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a time box tournament. I don't know if it's going to be the big board. I don't know if it's going to be BBM. Maybe. Who knows? But we're going to make it happen. And hopefully you guys are here for the ride and you guys learned something and are entertained along the way. So appreciate y'all stopping by. If you guys aren't already following me, give me a like. Give me a follow on Twitter at FantasyFitIO or at FantasyFitnessIO on YouTube. That way you guys can see when I'm streaming and be notified to jump on in and watch a quick stream. I'm gonna do these quick. They're gonna be 40 minutes, 50 minutes. Sometimes I'll do back-to-backs, but if you're sitting at work and you just want to, get some noise on in your headphones, listen to a draft. That's what we're here for. Jonathan Taylor, and kind of mixing up with CMC and Taylor. I just want to kind of spread out that exposure. I'm going to go JT. He's younger, probably a little bit more explosive at this point in his career. So we'll go ahead and take JT here at 8. Get that first running back. I do right now, for whatever reason, the way the board's kind of set up, I have been doing more RB heavy starts, at least getting one RB where it makes sense. Achane's probably the guy that I've been avoiding the most up here in the first round. I don't like the situation in Miami whatsoever. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be, new coaching staff. I just think, the bets around him are more, I like those bets a little bit more. Now, if he falls back to me at 17, then obviously that's something I'm going to do. But yeah, just probably the one guy in the first round that I'm not crazy about is Achane. Coming up here on pick 17. Let's see. JJ still on the board. I think that's an easy pairing here. I don't know if I have that pairing. I like to get unique combos in the first 2 rounds. All these guys are good. But JJ at 17, even with the uncertainty at the quarterback position, we're hearing rumors now that Kyler Murray might be going up to Minnesota. Geno Smith, which I know was horrible last year in Las Vegas, but he was also playing on a archaic team with an archaic coach, a bad offensive line. There were multiple reasons why he didn't do well versus what he did the year before. I don't think he's a world beater or anything like that, but can he sustain an offense with a good coaching staff and talented skill players like JJ and Addison and Hawkinson and guys like that around him? I think he can. I would prefer Kyler Murray, but I do think Geno would be a good, a decent play there if JJ just doesn't work out in training camp and he's not progressing. He could be a bust, and if that's the case, it looks like they're planning, plan B and plan C, and I think that JJ should be fine at 17. I think that's a great pick. I don't know who's going to argue with that. So yeah, here we go. We start off with Jonathan Taylor and Justin Jefferson. Coming up here on pick 32. We'll take a quick scan of the board. Looks like after we took JJ, Henry got pulled up a little bit, followed by Brown, AJ Brown, that is, and then Chase Brown. Neighbors at 21, McBride here at 22. followed by London and Bowers, Collins, Josh Allen, Tet McMillan, and Bucky. Chris Olave, I like that price on Olave. We definitely would be scooping him there. We'll have our choice of Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall. I like both of those guys in this range. Definitely would be interested in picking up one of those guys. So we'll see what the board gives us. I don't like the news of Breece Hall kind of staying in New York, whereas I think Kenneth Walker might go to Kansas City, Denver, might stay in Seattle. I'm not really sure, but I'll go ahead and take Kenneth Walker. I wish he was a little bit more involved in the passing game, like Breece Hall, but his situation might just be a little bit better if Breece gets stuck in New York. I will say though that he is extremely motivated, being that he's going to be playing on the franchise tag most likely. I don't know if he's going to sign a long-term deal with the Jets. He could be extremely motivated, Breece Hall that is. So I definitely am going to be drafting him here as well when he's available. That said, we went with Kenneth Walker. Let's go ahead and recap the team through 3. We have Jonathan Taylor and Kenny Three Sticks as our RB1 and 2, and then Justin Jefferson as our wide receiver 1. There's a whole slew of wide receivers in this range that I love to pick, from Zay Flowers to Garrett Wilson, Emeka Egbuka, even taking stabs on like Glad, and yeah, I would kind of stop it there. All right, with Garrett Wilson going, I'm going to go ahead and take Zay Flowers here. Here we're talking about 44-2 for Colston Loveland. That's interesting now that they've kind of cleared the path a little bit for Loveland. I could easily make that click as well. But I'll go ahead and grab Zay. I like Zay a lot here. At this price, haven't been clicking Rashi. I just think they're kind of reworking that offense. Not really sure what all the pieces are going to be. So he's a guy that I'll probably be drafting more of later in BBM, depending on what his price is going to be. Same with Adams. I haven't been taking too much Adams. He's just a little bit older, and I don't know, feel like he should be cheaper than some of these guys. There goes Burden. He goes off at 45. Again, his role is going to expand now that DJ Moore has been traded off to Buffalo. So back-to-back Bears here at picks 45 and 46. We'll have to see how their ADP changes with that trade. So far, I think that is their normal ADP. Yeah. So no real movement yet. I guess 4 picks ahead of ADP for Burden. So I lied there. All right. Coming up on pick 56. Let's take a quick scan of the board. See if there's anything unusual. Adams definitely went past ADP. Moore, there it is. DJ Moore, pick 50 with the news today, going from pick 100 ADP to pick 50. So that's, I don't know if we're going to see that all the time, but this may be his new price. If you're getting him at pick 100, I'm sure you're super happy about that. Daniels goes off ahead of Lamar at pick 51. I'm not sure if that was for stacking purposes. It was. He had McLaurin. We have Waddle and Tate. All right, this one's easy for me. 6, 7 picks past ADP. I get Lamar Jackson, and I get to stack them up with Zay Flowers. So get the single stack going. And we're at a pretty balanced build here, 1, 2, 2, 0. with the Lamar Flower stack. JJ 4 picks past ADP, and that's probably the big highlight so far. A couple other ones past ADP, but nothing significant. Players in this range that I like, boring, but are going to have a lot of playing time, would probably be Courtland Sutton. I do like Christian Watson for his athletic profile and just how quickly he can score points. He's in a good offense. He's with a good organization. Makai Lemon is fine. I've been mixing him in here as well. He seems to have dropped a little bit post-combine, maybe with some of the crazy clips coming out about him. I don't know, but he does seem to have dropped a little bit here. Tyson's moved ahead, and Tate is still at the top between those three rookies. Okay, Pearsall gets pulled way up. Sutton goes next. I've got a little bit of divisional correlation here, and I like his price at 64, 65. We'll go ahead and grab Christian Watson here. He's got the perfect best ball profile, can score from anywhere on the field, super athletic, runs those deep crossers and just, burns DBs. His big issue has been health. I do think he was buoyed a little bit last year with Kraft's injury. That being said, I still think he's a good player. Like Evans there as well. So could have easily pulled the trigger on Evans, but at that price, we'll go ahead and grab some Christian Watson, see if he can build on his success from last year. What did he end up with? So didn't play all the games. When he did come back, it was 35 receptions, but look at those yardage on 35 receptions. So it doesn't take much. 6 touchdowns as well. He's going to have one, a full season ahead. So let's just hope for the best on his health, and we'll see where that goes. Another note here, after the trade of Monty to Houston, we now have him going off the board. I've seen him mostly in the 70s, some in the late 60s, seen him a few times in the 80s. So he'll be going between the late 60s and the early 80s. Coming up here on pick. Okay, Hubbard gets pulled up a little bit. Coming up here on pick 80. Let's see. Fannin would have been my first choice. With him off the board, I'm going to go ahead and roll with Alec Pierce. He's a free agent. He's going to test the free agent waters here once free agency opens up. He could be going to any number of teams. I've heard San Francisco. I've heard he's going to come back to. He could come back to Indy. There's a lot of different places that could use a guy like Alec Pierce on their team. Also, another guy that can make big plays, can score on deep touchdowns, can just out jump a DB. So I like his profile. Then it was a little late kind of warming up to him, but I think in this range around guys like Jacoby, QJ, I think it makes sense. Also kind of pair him up with Jonathan Taylor here. I like doing that when I can, get a running back and a wide receiver, kind of consolidate your bets a little bit. So we have that going for us as well if he does go back to Indy. If he doesn't go back to Indy, then obviously, I hope he lands on a good team like San Francisco or something like that. In this range, it gets interesting. I could go Pollard. I could go Pitts. I could go Laporta. I like the prices on those guys. I like Kraft, but he's injured. So I've been a little reluctant to take him too often. And I like Algier. All right, pick 88. This one's tough for me. Pollard or Algier. I'm going to go Algier. Not sure what's going on down there in Tennessee. Jeremiah Love is visiting Tennessee today for one of those rookie interviews or rookie, yeah, I guess you call it like a rookie interview. So that one kind of just, means he's going to get cut. Obviously, he'll get picked up by another team. What's that going to look like? Is he going to be a 1? Is he going to be a 2? Just some uncertainty now, a little bit with Pollard. If Titans do, in fact, take Love, I don't know if they will. It doesn't necessarily make sense from a team building perspective, but NFL teams do dumb things all the time, so I wouldn't put it past them. That being said, I know Allgeier is going to get a good contract. He's talking about something like a 3-year, $20 million deal in free agency. Any team that signs him to that is going to play him a ton. He could go to Denver. He could go to Seattle. He could go to Kansas City. So Tyler Allgeier at pick 89. I like it. In this range, I like the tight ends. Or I should say Sam Laporta, Kyle Pitts was there as well. I like them at that price. If not, getting into these quarterbacks here is also something I've been doing. Okay, Tony Pollard's falling on the news probably of the interview. I like him at this price. I know I just said I've been kind of waiting, but he's dropping, 15 picks past ADP. Maybe this is where he settles in. I don't know. Not a big fan of Xavier Worthy. Could have went Jordan Love for the stack with Christian Watson, but I do have Lamar, so we'll see what falls back to us here at quarterback. I think whether Pollard stays, if they don't take Love and he stays in Tennessee, then I like his price even more. If he goes somewhere else and splits a backfield, maybe he goes to Detroit. I don't know. That area just got opened up as a 2 behind Jahmyr Gibbs. Not sure if that pairing makes sense, but nonetheless, if he gets cut, he will end up somewhere on and will begin some playing time. That gives us 4 really solid running backs. I'll come back to that position group later. There's some good value on the board in other spots. Love goes, so I'm going to go Chris Godwin here. He's kind of the one guy in this area that just feels completely mispriced. Go ahead and grab him at pick 113. Now we have our 5th wide receiver. So sitting on a 1-4-5-0 build through 10 rounds, halfway through the draft. I like this a lot. Definitely want to get a quarterback with my next pick. Or next 2 picks, I should say. One of my next 2 picks is what I'm trying to say. And then we could try to get into the tight end room here as well. Although there's some really nice pockets at tight ends late, and knowing kind of where that value pocket is down here in the what is it? Kind of where Theo is, Njoku, Ferguson, Schultz, all those guys are good. So kind of saving my tight end ammo for that part of the board, or Mark Andrews in the 150s to stack him up with Lamar here on this team. So I'll be looking probably running back, quarterback, wide receiver with this next pick, or these next picks, I should say. Appreciate you guys being here. This is the big board presented to you by Underdog. This is the main pre-NFL draft, the main tournament for pre-NFL draft best ball on Underdog. Okay, I'm gonna go Tyler Shough here. I've got my questions, lots of questions around Malik Willis. I do like him. Don't know if I like this price. Tyler Shough showed some promise last year. So we'll go ahead and scoop him here, get our second quarterback before it thins out too much. There'll be some pairing options. There's some late ways to kind of backstack him with Juwan Johnson, Vele, Devin Neal. So like Shough, I do like Darnold for just kind of that steady Eddie kind of guy. Then you can backstack Darnold as well. And then we'll just kind of see what's left. So after I took Shough, Willis went quickly after that, followed by Mendoza, followed by Kyler Murray. Man, don't really love what's around here. A guy that kind of just feels like he's mispriced, can backstack him as well, is CJ Stroud. All the other guys, there's, question marks where they're going to go, what their roles are going to be, that being, Romeo as a free agent. Woody just got nuked by Monty, so I'm not taking him here. He's got to drop 20, 30 picks, from where he's going. Did consider Juwan Johnson here to get the stack with Shough, but didn't want to force that. And I like these 3 quarterback builds. Probably don't need 3 with Lamar, but I like that extra insurance on these 20-round drafts. Felt strong about the running back room and the wide receiver room, so figure, no reason to just jam a player in there, go with the best value on the board. And for me, that was CJ Stroud. All right, 10 picks away. All right, I like the comments so far. We've got Paulino saying nice start. I'm gonna agree, but I'm also pretty biased in this situation, so take that for what it's worth. But yeah, I do like this team. A lot of spike, weak upside across the board at the running back position. With the first 3, I think we have a lot of projected volume, and I don't necessarily see a lot of wish casting in there on my part. These guys are going to have big roles in their offenses. We already know what JT can do. He looked like the league winner up until, what was it, like week 14 when Daniel Jones got hurt, week 13, somewhere in there. Kenneth Walker, once they kind of freed him from Charbonnet, we saw what his talent looked like. Tyler Algier, he's probably the prized running back free agent in this free agency class. And then Tony Pollard, just very consistent. He may not be in Tennessee, but wherever he lands, I think he'll be good. And we got him 15 picks past ADP, so that was just kind of too hard to pass up at that price. Do like Rachaad White in this 150 range. I think he's also well priced as a free agent. And then, yeah, we'll recap the team here after we make these 2 picks. Okay, was going to go Juwan Johnson there, but he went with his 4th tight end. That's fine. Do like him a little bit more at this price than Andrews, but we have the stack with Andrews, and I think Andrews is perfect, perfectly fine in terms of his price. We got our first tight end. We'll get the stack. He's right at ADP, and now we have a double stack with Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews. Lock it in. Big year coming for the Baltimore Ravens, new coaching staff. But that's a solid organization, so I don't worry about coaching staff turnover nearly as much in well-run organizations as I do in places like Miami or Arizona, where we have, very uninspiring ownership groups. That being said, right after this pick at 161, we're going to recap the team. Looking at wide receiver, there's a few guys on this board that I like at their respective prices. Yeah, definitely think we're kind of in that wide receiver range. All right, for me, it's either McMillan, Bryant, or Judy. I have that other piece of Tampa Bay, and I'm also kind of playing an NFC South divisional correlation game here. So we'll go with McMillan. He looked good before the injury last year, or the year before last, I should say. He was doing pretty well. Don't think Mike Evans is going to be back there with free agency. So we're looking at Ngbuka and Godwin and McMillan on that squad, probably as the three going forward. Evans, departs and goes somewhere else. So we'll take him 6 picks past ADP. That gets us our 6th wide receiver. Let's go ahead and recap the squad. We're sitting on a 3-4-6-1 build at this point. We have Lamar Jackson as our main quarterback, rushing upside, guy that can just has no ceiling. Tyler Shuck, he is not stacked up with anybody at this point. Was hoping to get Jawan, that didn't work out. And then CJ Stroud, and he's also naked at this point. But we got some backstacking options coming up here for Stroud. And then at the running back position, we have Taylor, Walker, Algier, and Pollard. A good solid 4 there. Wide receivers, Jefferson, Flowers, Watson, Pierce, Godwin, McMillan, and then Mark Andrews as our lone tight end at this point. I like Trey Harris, second-year guy. Still see some upside there. Hopefully establishes more playing time in this second year. Pat Bryant as well. Second-year guy. Hopefully second-year breakout opportunity there. And then these tight ends. Do we go with one of the tight ends now? A lot of these guys, it's tough. Let's see. I'm going to go Trey Harris on this one. Still trying to get my shares up of him a little bit. Second-year player out of Ole Miss. Showed some promise last year. Deep threat. I think he takes a step forward this year in that offense. So we'll go Trey Harris here, get our 7th. And then looking at guys like Ferguson, Schultz, Hawkinson. Like Stowers as well. His price is coming up with how he did at the combine. But yeah, we'll kind of see what the board gives us. I also like Kamani Vidal and Charbonnet when he falls in this range. He has fallen actually quite a bit. So Charbonnet is an interesting pick here as well. Do need a tight end though. All right. I'm gonna go Ferguson. I think he's gonna break out this year. I think he had some nice texture to the room with Andrews being kind of the steady Eddie guy. We'll go upside with Ferguson here and add him to the room at pick 185. That's, I think, a solid 2. Thought about Schultz there, but I just like the profile and the upside on a good organization that Ferguson offers. You have Parkinson there, but I don't think I think he's going to get usurped by Ferguson this year. I just think that superior talent at a younger age. Give me Ferguson. All right, let's recap the squad. 3-4-7-2. Lamar Jackson, Tyler Shook, CJ Stroud, Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, Tyler Algier, Tony Pollard. Wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, Zay Flowers, Christian Watson, Alec Pierce, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, and Trey Harris. And then tight ends, Andrews and Ferguson. All right. We want to add another couple running backs to this team, another wide receiver, and another tight end. You have 3 picks to go. Excuse me, 4 picks to go because we're still in the 17th round. So 4 more picks. Best player available outside of quarterback. That's the goal here. Got some ideas for wide receiver. Do like Noel and Bailey. I think those would be kind of interesting guys to tack on here. Yeah, we'll just kind of see what the board gives us. Excuse me. Wow. Give me Ray Davis at this price. He's on an awesome organization. He's the number 2 to a guy going in the first round in James Cook. If anything happens to that guy, Cook that is, it's wheels up. Sky's the limit for Ray Davis. Last year he was going in the 130s. This year we're getting him at pick 200. I know it's a 20-round draft, but that being said, he's still priced exceptionally well at his ADP. And anything happens to Cook, I mean, his value just skyrockets. So like Ray Davis here as a 5. Looking here. At the rest of this squad. Okay, Torrey Horton's hurt. Otherwise, I like Horton. Cooper Kupp, Devin Neal. Just going to finish things up here. The running back position and go Devin Neal. Thought about Najee there as well, like Najee's price. But if Kamara gets traded, and I think there's lots of reasons in real football for him to get traded, he's on a team that has no real Super Bowl aspirations, I don't think, at this point. They're still a couple years away. If they can get some value for him, I think it would make sense to trade Kamara. So we'll have to see what they do down there in New Orleans. If that happens, that opens things wide up for Devin Neal. That's going to do it at the running back position. We're done at quarterback. We're done at running back. From here on out, it is wide receiver and tight end. We'll wrap this up. That'll give us a 3-6-8-2, build, most likely, unless there's just some crazy value hanging around on the board. Let's recap the squad. 7 picks away. Lamar Jackson, Tyler Shook, and CJ Stroud. Shook, his only stack right now is with Devin Neal, but I've got another player in mind to kind of double stack him. And then we'll say here too, real quick, that Lamar Jackson is double stacked with Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews, and then CJ Stroud naked right now. Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, Algier Pollard, Davis and Neal at running back. I think that's a solid 6. Wide receiver, we've got Justin Jefferson at pick 17. That was really good value there. Zay Flowers, Christian Watson, Alec Pierce, Chris Godwin, McMillions, I should say, and Trey Harris as our 7th. And then we have Mark Andrews and Ferg as our 2 tight ends. Parkinson's hanging around here on the board. Not really interested in him as another tight end. For me, it's either Knoll or Vele. Oh man, it's close. I think I'm going to go Knoll for that upside, 2nd-year breakout. I think we kind of know what Vele is. I like Vele. We could add him as a 9th if we want to lean out at tight end. I think that would be fine if we want to, excuse me, kind of play this as like a lean tight end build. Tight ends that I would care about the rest of the way, and there's really only like maybe like 1 or 2 guys that I would pick here, and I don't really like Evan Ingram. I would take a stab on Arroyo here as kind of a high upside year 2 guy. Otherwise, Vele would be another option for me. We would go with a 9 QB, a 9 wide receiver build. Yeah, it's between these 2 guys for me. Yeah. I'm going to play it lean at tight end, and I'm going to go Vele, take that 9th wide receiver, and get that stack going with Shuck. I do like Arroyo. He would have been my other kind of low ownership pick there. But yeah, let's go ahead and recap the squad, and we'll wrap this stream up, and I'll be back on here this afternoon to do another one. So here's the squad. We have Lamar Jackson double stacked with Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews. We have Tyler Shook double stacked with Devin Neal and Vele. And then we have CJ Stroud single stacked with Jalen Knoll. And then we have in the running back room, Jonathan Taylor, Kenny Three Sticks, Tyler Algier, Tony Pollard, Ray Davis, and Devin Neal as our 6 running backs. I feel like that's a solid squad. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, the aforementioned Flowers, Christian Watson, Alec Pierce, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillions, Trey Harris, Jalen Knoll, and Vele. And then a lean tight end room here with Mark Andrews as our staple and Terrence Ferguson as our high upside bet with our tight end 2 position. So lots of upside here. I feel like the texture in these rooms is pretty solid. I could have went with maybe like a Jerry Jeudy or something here in place of Jalen McMillan, but I don't know. I don't have a ton of faith in Jeudy, although I think as a wide receiver 1 at that price, he's priced well there. Solid running back room, lots of projected volume, good upside cases for Ray Davis and Devin Neal if those backfields kind of turn around or there's injury. And then I think it's a solid quarterback room. So overall, I'm going to give this team a B, maybe a B+. Definitely one I like having in the portfolio. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Paulino says solid balance team. That's what he does. But appreciate you guys stopping by. If you like what you saw, give me a follow here on Twitter so you can be notified of future streams. That's at FantasyFitIO. I also have a project I'm working on, fantasyfitness.io. Go ahead and check out that web app for updates. I shouldn't say updates, but the latest player data and player evaluations, team evaluations, and you can integrate your fantasy rosters. And if you want to follow me on YouTube, I'm at Fantasy Fitness IO is my handle there. So that's going to do it for today. Appreciate you guys stopping by, and I'll be back on this afternoon or this evening for another stream, and we'll catch you guys then. Have a good rest of your day, and peace.